Oh. Okay, so we're going to get started. We've had a little bit of hiccup with our captioning, but we have a link that we'll share in the chat. Thank you everyone for joining us. Welcome to our program, New to NC with the North Carolina Museum of Art. Captioning is available and it will be shared. The link will be shared in our chat, so please check that out. So good morning. I'm a little thrown off. I am Clarissa Arguello. I'm the outreach librarian with the State Library of North Carolina Government and Heritage Library. And just so everyone knows, once our program has ended, we're going to send a follow-up email with the list of resources that we've mentioned and that our guests have mentioned. This presentation is also being recorded and will be available on the State Library of North Carolina's YouTube channel. And that link will be in the chat as well. Captioning is available. It may not be available in the way that the slide says. And so I'm going to continue and talk about chat. So, you know, if you have a chat question, if you have a question, please put it in the chat box. Yeah, on that bottom toolbar or the top toolbar, you can select the chat button there. Send us any message if you have any kind of technical help also. And so at the end of our presentation, we'll gather all the questions and ask them of our presenters. And before we completely begin, I just want to take a moment to tell you a little bit about the SLNC Government and Heritage Library Services. We provide research assistance by phone, email, chat, and in person. The link in the chat will take you to the SLNC homepage where you can view all of our hours, which are Tuesday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturdays, 9 to 1. North Carolina residents can sign up for a library card with the link in the slide and in the chat, and it'll allow you access to many of our online subscription databases. You can also sign up for our mailing list to receive general news and updates from the State Library of North Carolina, and as well as getting emails about programs and resources related to North Carolina history, genealogy, educator resources. And please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or need any help. And let's get into our program. Welcome to New to NC, a virtual series brought to you brought to you by the State Library of North Carolina's Government and Heritage Library. In this informative series, we embark on a journey that caters to new North Carolinians. I am a new North Carolinian, and so this is kind of how we started with this. This program, it offers a wealth of knowledge and insight into a wide range of topics that will help you transition into this beautiful state. Whether you've just arrived in North Carolina or if you've been a while, New to NC is your gateway to unlocking information covering areas such as culture, education, genealogy, government, and so much more. Each program in the series is designed with one purpose in mind: to inform newcomers like me about resources needed to not just settle in North Carolina, but to thrive and make the most out of every opportunity. And so welcome to New to NC, and I'm going to introduce our guests. Kira Harris is a communications specialist and multimedia artist based in the Raleigh-Durham area. She graduated from Meredith College with the Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication and Public Relations with a minor in graphic design. After graduating, she worked as the assistant to the Director of Public Engagement at the office of the 75th Governor of North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper. She is also co-creator and partner of OG Designs and Creations, focusing on promoting positivity and inclusivity through custom art installations and murals. Harris has completed a Master's of Media and Journalism with a focus in visual communications at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and prior to her current position in marketing manager at the North Carolina Museum of Art. She looks forward to opportunities to learn and implement new communication and design practices, artistry, and approaches to connect with different audiences. Kira strives to learn, cultivate, and explore the various means of communication and connection with regards to the transmission of information and ideas using innovative design strategies. Angela Lombardi is the Director of Outreach and Audience Engagement at the North Carolina Museum of Art, where she leads a dynamic team of programmers who create public events for all ages. With the focus on amplifying the talents of local artists, she engages young people in rural communities across North Carolina through the NCMA's signature outreach project, the Artist Innovation Mentorship Program. Lombardi is the Vice Chair of the City of Raleigh Public Art and Design Board and maintains an active artistic practice. She comes to her museum career by way of studio art, graduating from Hunter College in New York, and she's continued her training in academic drawing and sculpture at the Florence Academy of Art. And thank you both for being here. I will stop sharing my slides.
Thank you.
And actually, before we begin, we have a question in the chat, and I'm just going to get to this. Leah, can you please type your question in the chat? You can always just type it directly to me. Could have also been an accident. Sometimes that happens. If you want to go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Let's.
If it lets you.
There we go. Is everything showing up okay?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, I'm excited to just kind of dive right in, everybody. As mentioned, my name is Kira Harris. I've been with the North Carolina Museum of Art for a little over a year now, and it's been a really exciting journey. It's been fun. And I think that if you're new to North Carolina, you're interested in the arts, this is the perfect place to stop by and really delve into what we have going on. As mentioned in my bio, I've been in North Carolina for a good while, but I was a transplant here myself. And the museum was a place where I found myself a lot. As we talk more, you'll see that we have a plethora of things for you to explore and do. If you're an outdoorsy person, you can walk our trails. If you're artsy, you can come inside. There's so many things you can do at the museum. So let's get started and I'll walk you kind of through what we have going on. So to start, you'll see the North Carolina Museum of Art stewards and shares the People's Art Collection and inspires creativity with diverse communities and cultural experiences and resources here. The People's Collection, to kind of delve into that more, is several galleries. This could be from African arts to European arts, focusing on different religions. There are so many things that are going on in the galleries to explore. You'll see we have two locations. So we have East Building and we have West Building. So West Building holds the People's Collection. And so that reimagined presentation of that collection is just a diverse representation of narratives and media, and visitors can learn about national and global histories through the works of arts there. It's representative of different cultures and how that diversity is interconnected. We also have this exhibitions mostly hosted in East Building, where you'll see our upcoming exhibition soon for spring. I'll mention those later. But to just give you the overview, we have 100 years old here at the museum. The collections and galleries have hit over 1 million visitors. And so it's really great with a lot of history here. I kind of wanted to talk about our roots with the museum. If you look us up, you're probably familiar with our 3 arches that really speak to who we are. And the way that I kind of think about this is those 3 arches represent our arts, our nature, and our people. So when we're thinking about the museum, we always want to create this welcoming place, a sense of belonging. And with that, we try to do that through those three pillars. So with arts, we have the free People's Collection, as mentioned, free to all, free to explore during gallery hours, stop on by and look through. We also have the spring and fall exhibitions. Usually those are ticketed, those are in the East Building. And then we also have our season of performing arts and films, and we have so many different programs to engage with visitors. Nature, this is where I mentioned you can walk our trails, bike, skate, whatever you like to do outside. But we also have a 164-acre park that also hosts a lot of art throughout the landscape. So you're going to be interacting with art the entire time. Some of our new and exciting installations is our musical swings outdoors, where visitors can swing on the swing or interact with it. And the more that people are interacting with it together, the more you hear this comprehensive musical kind of like song happening at one time. It's really beautiful, and it kind of symbolizes the community that we're trying to create. You can swing to the left and you can swing to the right, and all of it creates one big song that you can enjoy. Miles of trails and greenway trails. We do have our NCMA Park app. So if you're exploring the park and walking the trails, depending on what trail you like to explore that day, you can also learn about all the artwork on that trail via the app. And I can supply more information about that at the end of this. We have our Welcome Center, where you can buy quick snacks and learn more about the park, kind of get an orientation to where you are. And we also have park walking tours. I think we'll talk about that more too with our programming overview. But to hop towards the people, that's really where I wanted to hone in on. I think all of this, pulling all of this together, it's about the people, and it's about how we engage with people. To kind of bring together that idea that we're trying to make a sense of belonging and togetherness and welcomeness, we want to be able to supply various people with various modes to engage with art. Like I said, if that's with nature, we have the nature, we have the park. If that's with art, we have our exhibition, we have our galleries. And with all of that, we try to have an immense amount of people engage with what we're doing at the museum. It's also a place to interact. And I think that that's the really cool part about the NCMA. Some of the highlights when it comes to our initiative with people is we also have a sister campus, formerly known as SECA, and I believe now known as the North Carolina Museum of Art at Winston-Salem. We are hosting joint exhibitions. So you're able to have that experience in Raleigh, North Carolina, and you're able to have that experience in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I think that it just kind of broadens that community of arts. Let's see. Oh, let me not forget, if you're joining us at the museum, definitely check out our restaurants. We have two. We have the NCMA Cafe and we have the East Cafe. The NCMA Cafe is a dine-in experience, so that one's really fun. You can do brunch and lunch. We have several different menus that are on rotation. So it could be a spring menu and winter menu that really do fall into the theme of our exhibitions that we have at the time. And then East Cafe is more for quick pickup. So if you're kind of exploring the galleries, you're exploring the park, and you need a little pick-me-up coffee or a little snack, definitely head over to East Cafe. And in each building, you'll also have the ability to get a little retail therapy done. The museum's store in West Building kind of hosts multiple artists that we collaborate with and especially in North Carolina, excuse me. So you can witness the artwork of over 40 North Carolina artists, buy their artwork, and see what we have going on there. And then in East Building, we host a museum store, which is the exhibition store, tailored to our exhibitions at the time. So I will kind of shift over to Angela to kind of talk about the programming, and especially the programming that we have going on with our upcoming exhibitions that you definitely want to keep in mind. So just to tell you this overview of dates, and we'll have this as notes later, but To Take Shape and Meaning is going to be on view March 2nd, and that'll be through July 28th, 2024. We also have Layered Legacies, which is on view March 9th, and Alpha to Creation on view February 15th. I will kind of plug in that our Alpha to Creation and our Layered Legacies is one of those exhibitions that's really exciting because it does have that dual presentation with our sister museum. So definitely keep a lookout for those. Oh, and lastly, one more thing, we also have Art in Bloom coming up. That is our 10th celebration of floral and festivities happening. Tickets are on sale now, and that is through March 13th through March 17th.
Thanks, Kira. If you want to go through these slides, these are the just the exhibition announcements, and then I'll get to the programming after we go through. So as Kira mentioned, we've got To Take Shape and Meaning. And we'll talk a little bit. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So I'll talk to this a little bit more with y'all. So To Take Shape and Meaning, form, design, and contemporary American Indian art is organized by curator Nancy Strickland Fields. This is really exciting because we have over 75 Indigenous artists coming from over 50 tribes throughout the United States. It's really beautiful, and I can't wait for people to experience it. As mentioned, that's going to be on view March 2nd through July 28th. And if you're interested in learning anything more about these exhibitions, please visit ncartmuseum.org/exhibition. That will take you to the landing page to see all of these upcoming exhibitions. Layered Legacies, as mentioned, is really focused on quilt and community. I think that what's really interesting is me, not only as a employee at the museum, but also a patron myself, is how beautifully interwoven the topics are. And so when it comes to quilts, I can't wait to learn more about the legacy of quilts, what it means when you're choosing certain textiles or you're working together to create this huge piece. And so that is on view March 9th. That is going to be free. As mentioned, we have our free People's Collection, and also we have exhibitions that are free as well. And then we also have From Alpha to Creation. And so with this one, this is especially with SECA, the North Carolina Museum of Art at Winston-Salem. And this really focuses on photography and video and sculpture and various iconography and rituals throughout this landscape of religion in the Deep South. And so if you're excited to visit that and you're in the Raleigh area and you want to come to the NCMA, that's going to be on view February 17th through August 18th. And then if you're over in Winston-Salem, feel free to hop by, and that's going to be on view February 15th through May 26th, and that's also free. So as mentioned, if you want to learn anything more, have any questions, please feel free to ask me during the Q&A part of this, or you can visit ncartmuseum.org/exhibitions.
Great. Do you want to advance to the next slide for me?
Do it.
Oh, there you go. The Art in Bloom coming up is our really exciting time. I know that Kira's been working a lot on activations and pop-ups for that. Do you want to talk about that a little?
Sure. So with Art in Bloom, it's a fun time every time. It's beautiful to see all the flowers and around the artwork. It's inspired, the installations that you'll see are inspired by the artwork themselves. And so that's the really cool part. Even if you've been to the People's Collection before, it's not going to be the same because now you're seeing this kind of dual interaction with the art. Not only are we seeing the artwork in the People's Collection, but you're also seeing a very modern, very in the moment created art piece with florals that is inspired by the artwork itself, the intent, the colors, the form. And so it's really neat to see how artists of different modes are exploring that type of like intent with an artwork itself. So that's going to happen March 13th through 17th. Feel free to learn more at ncartmuseum.org/artinbloom. Also, keep in mind some dates that we have coming up. This is being announced today, but we have activations and programming in support of Art in Bloom prior to the actual festival dates. And so we'll be hosting flower pop-up shops where you can build your own miniature bouquet at Fenton and Cary and at North Hills in Raleigh. This was something that we found very successful last year, where people kind of went around to different locations in the Triangle, brought their families, brought their friends, and just were able to learn more about the museum, learn more about Art in Bloom, and also take home some very beautiful flowers. So stay tuned for that. We'll announce that on social media this afternoon. And also, it's a great way to just kind of stay up to date with what we have going on at the museum in general. Performing arts and film is something where we have our outdoor concerts, we have films, we have jazz at the museum, and music at the museum. And so these are just multiple live dance performances, it's jazz series, lectures, chamber music recitals, just to name a few of what we have going on. Upcoming, we have Samara Joy, we have multiple artists. If you watch the Grammys, you might see them at the museum, which is awesome. So stay tuned for that and check out our website to see the lineup. That's
Great. Thank you so much, Kira. We have so much going on here that we had a really hard time kind of narrowing down how much we were going to be able to talk about. My name is Angela Lombardi, and I've been working with the museum for about the last 15 years or so, off and on. When I was new to the area, it was kind of a shock to me that North Carolina had this museum and that it was free to come in. The galleries are gorgeous. The artwork is stunning. You'll be really kind of shocked at the expansiveness of the collection. So please come visit us. Kira, you can advance the slide for me. Thank you.
having a quick difficulty. There we go.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so Kira mentioned that we have the exhibition coming to take shape and meaning, form and design in contemporary American Indian art. And one of the main goals of this exhibition is to really highlight the work of contemporary Indigenous artists and really act as an agent of information and to amplify the voices that are out there working in and across the state in Indigenous communities. And so we have 8 state recognized tribes in the state of North Carolina. And what we do here in the programming department is not just try to sit here in the museum and come up with ideas, but really actively engage community leaders in the planning of these events, and so that they have the authenticity of a a program created by the people that it is meant to serve. So that means in this instance that we worked closely with the North Carolina American Indian Heritage Commission and had their assistance in reaching out across the state to artists and performers. And this is all going to come together at the opening weekend of this exhibition, March 2nd, from 10 to 5, where we have our North Carolina American or Indigenous Artist Festival. So we will have free demos, hands-on activities, workshops. In the slide, you see a young performer. This is a Lumbee youth culture performer. There will be drummers and dancers and singers from the Lumbee tribe that will be with us that day. And artists that work in wampum, the shell jewelry, that work in basket making, ceramics, you name it. So there are so many artists to meet and celebrate, and this day is a really wonderful day to kick off the exhibition. It's free on this day, and you'll also have the benefit of meeting a lot of living, working artists. Next slide. One of the things that we try to do in that effort to get outside of our own walls and engage the community is really take that mandate of being a state institution, a state-funded institution seriously as we work to serve the whole state, which is, I don't know what state maybe you've moved from, but North Carolina is a large state with 100 counties. And often we are trying to find ways to engage all 100 counties or a wonderful chunk of those counties in the regions that they occupy, from the mountains to the ocean to the plains in between. So what we are doing here in the AIM program is working with students that might never make it to the museum. There are many rural communities across the state where, especially post-pandemic, the arts have been cut from a lot of curriculums. And so the museum has taken the initiative to create after-school programs that engage local artists from the communities that we're going into, and working with middle school students for about a 6-week period. And they meet twice a week after school, and the artists have a chance to directly engage with the young people in their communities. The young people have that free outside of school time to create with each other, be in community with each other. And this is a program that we're really excited to be continuing for the foreseeable future. We're really excited. We have generous funders, as you can see on the screen, and many, many artists and many communities that we're hoping to serve. So I think there are some links that are dropped in that show us a short film that was created our first year. You can really hear about the program from the young people it affected and from the artists that they worked with. And then we're just constantly working on approaching new communities. And so if this is something that you are living in a community outside the triangle, you might want to reach out to us and see how you can be involved. Thank you. Next slide. So here back on campus, we have a large number of family programs. So we think of that as activations for intergenerational groups. And so grandchildren with their grandparents coming for story time. We have family studios where you're introduced to a concept and an artwork in the galleries, and then your whole family can make a project together. We have family tours. And one of our favorite ways to get outside of the building and serve families across the state is to work hand in hand with the libraries. And so again, being a state institution, having the ability to work with the state library system, we create art kits that is a bilingual PDF of well, we have those on our website, but a bilingual sheet of introduction to an artwork, a step-by-step how-to respond to that artwork yourself with the materials included, and those are free. And to date, we've sent out over 25,000 art kits with the help of our library partners across the state. And so you might visit a library and see one of those art kits. Let us know. I know that they get snapped up pretty quickly, and we're constantly working to expand that reach. You can go to the next slide. Again, here on campus, we have a lot of adult programming, so that encompasses our lecture series. where we work with the curators to bring in artists. We work with community partners, one of which is Small School, which brings in artists from across the country to give lectures at the museum. And also, if you're a maker or if you wanted to become a maker of art yourself, we have studio workshops for adults on a monthly basis where you'll be working with often themes that are responding to the current exhibitions, and also, a chance to meet local artists. And so I know upcoming this next weekend, we have an alabaster stone carving workshop with the local artist, Paris Alexander. And in connection with the Indigenous Artist exhibition, To Take Shape and Meaning, we'll have a corn husk doll making workshop with the Eastern Band Cherokee artist, Laura Walking Stick. So there's always something new, there's always something different. And I encourage you, if you've been wanting to make some art, come make art with us. Go ahead. And if you are one of the many people that think of a museum as a place to kind of collect yourself, have a mindful, quiet experience, we've found that a lot of people do think of us that way and think of museum experiences as that opportunity to really be meditative, maybe in communion with other people, maybe by yourself. But we've created this Mindful Museum series, which is a program called Slow Art is one of the offerings, where we meet and discuss one work of art for a whole hour. And you would think that there would be no way to talk for 1 hour about one piece of artwork, but we always find ourselves wanting to stay longer. It's not an art history program. It is really an intuitive response to the art, and it really helps with fine, slow looking, and it's just a fascinating program because you get to hear what other people are noticing that you might not have noticed. And I understand that everyone looks at art differently after that program. We've got sensory journeys. We have therapeutic dance as a new offering. A lot of programs out in the park, like our full moon walks, bird walks, tree IDs. So check out those Mindful Museum programs if that seems like something that might appeal to you. If you have young people in your life or you're a young college student coming to the state as well, we have teen and college programs where we are working with teen ambassadors in our Teen Arts Council. So we have a group of about 20 young people that apply to be part of this program and then work with us to create programs for other teens, advocate within their schools and within their communities, to give more visibility to teens within the museum and make them feel like they have a place here as well. One of those programs is every first Saturday, we have a free sketching in the galleries program where teens who like to draw can join each other, walking through the galleries and sketching. College programs are similar. We work with college faculty to create programming for college students. And we do have a large internship program. So you can find that on our website or reach out to me for more information. We serve, like I said, there's just too much to talk about in any of these slides. You can go on. Thank you. So we have an education department, a dedicated education department, where we are serving educators and students, but a lot of what the education team does is make our collection more accessible for instructors in all subject matters. And so if they're working across the curriculum, they have a lot of ways to tie art into that, and have the resource NCMA Learn that you can see on your screen as a separate portal that is designed for educators, and gives you a lot of access to lesson plans, concepts that are generated from work in the galleries. A lot of homeschoolers use this for their art lessons. And then we have different days where we're welcoming teachers into the galleries for special professional development, but also nurturing of their artistic talents and skills within the museum. So yes, please check out that link if you are a teacher or you're interested in any of our teacher programs. This is the way of celebrating teachers, and so we have a lovely exhibition up right now that is artwork done by teachers from across the state. So a lot of times, you might have a classroom teacher that has a secret life as an artist themselves, and we were really thrilled to be able to present their work to the public in this way. So through May of 2024, please come by and check that out. We have summer camps, which are, if not already sold out, dangerously close to being sold out. We have camps from all the way up through middle school, and they definitely are popular. If you've moved to this area and tried to get into those camps, the day they go on sale, the hour they go on sale, they get snatched up because it's such a unique experience of bringing young people into the galleries of the museum, exploring the park, and creating artwork responsive to to our collection. Okay. And then we have an art reference library. So it's not visible to the public at this point. It's upstairs on our executive level, our office level, but you are welcome to make an appointment to come in and use that resource. There's a large number of current periodicals. There are a wonderful collection of works that are about either exhibitions that have come to the museum or the history of pieces within our collection. It's a lovely place to spend a day. I wish that I could spend more time in that library myself. Andrew Wang is the head librarian, and he is happy to take any and all of your questions. Thank you. And I'm sure there's plenty of questions. I've not been looking at the chat, but happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Angela. Also, just to plug in that to stay in touch with us, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Both the tags are at NC Art Museum. And so you'll just kind of stay up to date with what we have going on. We post about events and programs, exhibitions, our people's collection, and we love to see how our visitors are interacting with the museum as well. So please feel free to follow us there. We also have our email newsletters, especially if you are, an educator and would like to stay in touch with resources that we have, or a patron and you just kind of want to know what we have going on. We have newsletters for you just to stay up to date. And then I will always say that membership is a great option. There are perks that come with being a member, as far as our exhibitions and events, special deals that we might have going on at our cafe and our store. So that's just a way to really be plugged in. So if you all have any questions, please let me know.
Okay. So we do have some questions. We have one question from the chat or from the Q&A. Someone wrote, I work in a library and would be interested in the art kits. Who is the contact for that?
So you can reach out to me, and I will connect you with Courtney Clemens, who is our manager of family programs. And right now we have a wait list for libraries we're in 23 counties right now, and we're hoping to expand to more. And so, as you can imagine, sometimes it's a question of funding, and sometimes it's a question of hand packing over 2,000 art kits, which I can then make a plug for our volunteer program. We love having volunteers come in and help us do that, and that helps us get them out the door faster as well. So yes, please reach out to me if you're interested in having your library be part of the art kit program.
Excellent. Okay. Another question. You mentioned a little bit about that you don't just come up with ideas for programs, but how do you come up with ideas for programs? How do you find those new artists and come up with those new ideas? And how are, exhibits, decided really?
I believe we're all very, we have a staff of very creative folks here. And so I think as soon as we hear what exhibitions the curators and the director are planning, our gears start turning, and we have a lot of collaboration between departments. And so we have collaboration between public programs and curatorial. Our family programs always want to know how we're going to have things be accessible to families. We also have a large program dedicated to accessibility for folks that might have disabilities and come to us with different needs and needs for different accommodations. And so I would also say reach out if you are hoping to visit the museum and might need special accommodations of any kind. We have a specialist working in that area, Felicia Ingram and Molly Hull, who will be happy to assist you. We just had a dance party, for example, that was an accessibility dance party. And so, things like that come up because we were all talking, we're all engaged with the community, and we're all trying to understand, kind of the concept that everything doesn't suit everyone, but if we can create enough individual programmatic offerings, that something will appeal to someone and will hopefully be serving as many people as possible. So I don't know if that was too vague, but it is a really collaborative process. I'll just say that there's a lot of brain power here, and we love working together.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense. Another question: what is a good path for someone who, kind of wants to work in a museum of art? What was your path, both of you? Maybe if you want to share a little.
I always say that I came in through the back door because I'm an artist and was not a museum professional.
So the question is,
go ahead.
Oh, I think she may have gotten cut off.
Was I frozen?
uh-oh.
Someone was frozen.
I will say our internet is not great here at the museum, so come see us in person if you want to talk to us. But yeah, so go ahead, Kira, you were answering the question.
Kira got frozen again.
I've had an exciting kind of career path up to the museum. And I think that I was able to really take my studies in communication and say, okay, I like communicating in general. I like marketing, and I like the idea of bringing things to people and seeing how they interact. What ways can it be more expansive? What ways can it feel more authentic? And so I think with just my love of art in general, I started to kind of also do my own public art creations. And I asked myself, okay, well, how can these two things intersect? And I was really invested in learning about the museum world, the museum industry. What is it like when you go from, you shift your view from not just public art, creating public art, or just communications in general, and you're kind of morphing that. And what's exciting about my career right now is that I'm bringing those two worlds together and basically trying to make sure that people have access to the museum, and they have access to the museum in various ways. It's very indicative of what we do with our programming, our exhibitions in general. Like Angela mentioned earlier, we want as many options as possible so that as many people as possible can enjoy art, interact with art, and learn about art. And so what I'm able to do right now in my position is kind of do that through the means of communication and marketing.
Excellent. Okay. Someone asked in the chat, are there usually volunteers at the library? I'm not sure if they mean at the state library. We do have volunteers for our accessible books and library services section of the library, and we'll share that in when we send out our resource email. But can we talk a little bit more about volunteers at the Museum of Art?
Sure. We have volunteer opportunities by reaching out to Daniel Ambar at the, I'm not going to try to give you his email address, but I will, if you email me, I will get it to you. But he organizes our volunteer opportunities. And so we have a number, or one of them being art kits. another being large public events. And so, for example, during the Indigenous Artist Festival, we'll have many, many people in the building. We'll have many activities going on. So we often do ask for volunteers to help us with wayfinding. There's an artist that's going to be doing screen printing, and he's going to need an extra set of hands or three. And so we really create these, in the creation of our programs, we're also looking for ways to invite volunteers into our space, because I think that a lot of people do approach us asking for the opportunity to volunteer. And it's nice to be able to offer them something at that point, either within a program or out in the park. There are volunteer days in the park where you can assist with planting or the removal of invasive species. And so I think that the next one of those will be on Earth Day weekend. And so it will look like a community service project, basically, but you're welcome to come and help us in the park.
Excellent. I would love to. I'm very into gardening.
Oh, great. We would love to have you.
Are there any new additions coming to the permanent collection, and how often do we get, new additions?
I would say that it's, go ahead.
I was going to say,
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
try to highlight those on our social media, for example.
I can
remember the name right off of my head, but it's a beautiful gold piece that relates to another artwork in the People's Collection.
Stacy Lynn Waddell.
Wow. But I just wanted to share that. Yes, thank you. Oh, wonderful. Yes. It's a beautiful piece. And so we try to share those new acquisitions, especially on our learning resources like NCMA Learn, or even replicate that information on social, just for the general public to see, even if you're not on site.
And I'll say too that, Kara mentioned the museum is 100 years old from the beginning, from the Art Society that got together, worked with the legislature to requisition $1 million for the buying of Italian art. $1 million worth of Italian art was basically the seed that started this museum. And I think that from that point on, there was a lot of collection time that addressed certain periods within European history, European art, and in recent years, the collection has been expanded to include much more diverse contemporary artists. And so we're really highlighting, and this is due to the direction of Dr. Valerie Hillings, our museum director, just really with an emphasis on broadening the scope of the artists who are represented within our collection, so that more people might come and find themselves reflected in the work of those artists. We have a very large collection of African art, and after our reinstallation in 2 years ago, we have very much expanded those galleries, and so I would highly encourage you to come and check those out, just because there's such a wealth of contemporary and historical artwork in those collections. I would say our acquisition process moves fairly regularly. Our Judaic art collection also has a number of recent acquisitions that are very exciting. We have one of the few collections of Judaic art that within encyclopedic museums across the country, we're one of just a handful that has a dedicated Judaic art collection. So that is a really special collection to come and explore as well. I'm trying to think. Our contemporary art, we have 2 new curators of contemporary art that are advocating for artists in new acquisitions every day. And so we have a lot of exciting new additions. And also we have a lot of work on loan, so that we have a constant rotation. I mean, I feel like I'm surprised going into the galleries on some days. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that yet. And so, if you've been here month to month, you might still be surprised. So there's a lot of new things.
Another chat question. Does the museum have internships for graduate students? I think you talked a little bit about internships, but maybe a little more in depth if you can get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have an internship program, and it is not limited just to undergrad students. We frequently have graduate students, PhD students, and even folks that are finished with their college careers and come to us to looking to be involved in, maybe a new career in museums. And so we do have a section on our website that is Get Involved, and then under that you'll find internships. Um, right now, we are some of the work that I do in the internship program is recruit job descriptions basically from all the different departments across the museum, encouraging them to do their due diligence and help the next generation of students coming up get a foothold into the museum. Because as you were asking, how do people get into this? That's really one of the number one ways is to try an internship. And within our internship program, you might be working with a curatorial team or you might be working with education, but we try to make it so that you have interactions with all teams. And so if you come in thinking that art curation is the only museum job you can have, you might meet someone in videography and understand how you might help in that way, or you might work with someone like Kira or someone like myself that just have really different ways of working with the art. So those are publicized on our website. I will say that the AIM mentorship program out across the state is a paid internship where we're trying to work with folks in the communities where we're serving. And we do also have paid internships through the Governor Cooper's HBCU and Minority Institution program that I'm sure you and the state libraries are also taking part in. And so a lot of our summer interns are full-time paid interns from historically Black colleges and universities across the state. Again, trying to open doors for new generations to come into this work and understand if that's even something they might like to do.
That's definitely how I got into libraries. So volunteering or doing an internship with an organization is a great way to see if you like this field. So
Absolutely.
another question, can anyone take a behind the scenes tour? Are those available?
I would say we have a lot of generous staff here at the museum, and that if you're interested in something, they're probably excited to talk about it. And so it's not something that we offer on our website, but if you were to reach out and say that you would like to understand more about, say, the work of conservation, which is probably the most exciting behind the scenes tour ever. For me, being an art nerd completely, I love to see what they're working on and the works that they're conserving. Again, exhibition design, really fascinating world of, incorporating these massive collections of work that come in to be exhibited here and really working with our accessibility folks, with our interpretive folks to make sure that the exhibition is telling a more complete story than just a simple piece of art and a wall label. There's a lot of interpretive elements throughout the museum now, including digital labels. You'll find screens throughout with videos, maybe with working artists demonstrating the process. So I would say that, if you're needing a little bit more of a engagement piece to draw you in, I would say that that is now available throughout the museum. And it's really interesting to talk to them about their work too in interpretation.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Those are all the questions that we have. I just want to I'll ask everyone to take a few minutes to answer our brief survey. Let us know how we did today. You can also let us know if you want to see more programs like this one, or if there's any other organization you would like to learn more about and new to NC. You can get more information about upcoming events also through the link, and there'll be a link in our chat. And thank you both so much today, for joining us. I know how busy you are. I mean, all of the programs that are coming up, I love the Museum of Art. It was introduced to me before I even moved here and it is one of my favorite places here in North Carolina. I attended the Lantern Festival, Lantern Walk in winter, and my nieces and nephew loved the swings. So, we're very involved in the Museum of Art. Thank you again both for taking the time today to talk to us about this. We're going to share everything that you both talked about, all those links with everyone through those emails. Thank you to Jared, who is our chat moderator today, for joining us, and thank you everyone for attending. Yeah, any additional questions? We can share your information in the chat as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And